Zootopia 2 is a very funny movie, but it becomes even more entertaining when you pause on a funny scene. Does the movie get better when we stop on a random moment? One of the funniest moments when you pause the movie happens right when Judy is trying to convince Gary to release the father of the Lynx family, and Gary takes a frying pan hit right on the back of his head. At that moment, she is listening to the snake talk about how evil the lynxes are and about her family. It seems like a very emotional and sad scene, but everything changes when Nick suddenly enters the room and hits Gary, making him pass out. If you look at the snake's face of pain and surprise, you'll see that this scene is extremely funny. A fun fact is that this moment is a reference to a scene from the movie Tangled, when the princess hits Flynn Rider on the head with a frying pan. And the coolest part is that the directors of Zootopia 2 said they used the same hit sound that Disney created for the Tangled animation. That was pretty funny, right? And if you want to see more scenes like this, you already know, right? Another Cinewave is starting! Another scene that will make you laugh a lot if you pause it is the moment when former Mayor Bellweather is being arrested. During the trial, the sheep flips the table and completely loses it after being exposed. If you look at her facial expression, you'll notice she goes totally crazy, and this scene becomes even better when you know it's a reference to those funny internet videos about chaos that happens during criminal trials. Now here's a pretty heavy joke that only fans who paused at the right moment noticed. Nibbles, that beaver who is helping our heroes find the reptiles, takes Judy and Nick to the swamp market, but right at the beginning of the scene, this character slaps our heroes on the butt and both of them jump in shock. This joke is funny, but at the same time very heavy because doing this kind of thing is really wrong. You may have noticed that in the winter ball scene of the Lynx family, there were some gnu's with their tongues stuck to an ice pillar, but what you should have done, and probably didn't, was freeze the scene when they try to escape. In the middle of the chaos, when everyone is afraid of Gary, the gnu's try to run away, but their tongues are stuck, and that's why they panic in the middle of the mess. Did you notice this scene? And do you know how they solved this problem? If you pause the scene right during the TV news report about the chaos at the ball, you'll notice that the doctors had to cut the ice pillar to save the gnu, but his tongue is still stuck, and even so, the poor guy has to go to the hospital. It's a very quick scene when he falls, and you can see that he got pretty badly hurt. Another heavy moment at the ball was when Judy enters the room where Gary is holding the lynx father captive. If you pause at the right moment, you'll see that the bunny's dress lifts up and the skirt covers her head. This is a very adult joke that Disney decided to include in the movie, and that's fine, it's funny, but no looking at what a girl has under her dress, because that's illegal. Near the end of the movie, there's a very funny moment when Nick and Nibbles are getting into Flash's super fast car, that sloth from the city's public traffic department. When he accelerates the car, we see that Nick and Nibbles get really scared, and if you pause the scene, you'll see the expressions of shock and panic on their faces. Does Nick have a fear of speed? Speaking of cars and speed, remember that scene where Judy and Nick are chasing an anteater at the beginning of the movie? Right when they crash into a sheep wool truck, you can see a sheep barber shop. When the wool crashes into the building, we can see all of them being hit, and this jump scare moment is really funny. As bad as it may sound to think about it, watching people fall down can be really funny. The animation absolutely nailed this scene. Have you ever taken a funny fall? Comment the hashtag Zootopia so we can get to know each other. Still inside the barber shop, we see that one of the sheep wished her wool would be shaped like a muscular man, but that changed when the car accident made her end up in the shape of a ballerina outfit and a bikini. This scene is very quick, and those of us who paused the movie at the right moment noticed the details. In the scene where Judy is chasing Gary in the Lynx mansion, something happens that few fans noticed. If you pause at the right moment, you'll see that Judy slips on the ice, and that's what delayed the bunny from reaching the fireplace room in time. It's a funny moment because Judy must have taken a pretty bad fall. At the beginning of the movie, we see Officer Fern, the boar, asking Judy and Nick to back off from the chase, but she loses control of the car because Nick throws his sheep wool beard right into the eyes of a coworker who is in the other car. Did you notice that detail? It's really funny, but also dangerous, since it could cause an accident. Another moment you should check out is when the hippo police officers are being hit by the spikes. Wow, that must have hurt a lot, but it was funny. Speaking of getting hurt, you can freeze another very funny scene. When the anteater who is carrying Gary in a van sticks his head out, the poor guy smashes his face into a sign and passes out from the force of the hit. This is a very dangerous scene, but but we doubt you didn't let out a laugh. The scene becomes much funnier when you pause right at the moment he passes out. A funny moment in the chase scene at the beginning is that there's a parade celebrating the city's 100th anniversary. If you pause the scene at the right moment, you'll notice that it was the van Judy was driving that hit the metal triangle, instead of the musician who is holding the instrument. Some of the funniest jokes in the movie happen in moments everyone sees, but the detail only shows up if you pause the scene. At the moment when two police officers in therapy, a badger and a deer, are facing each other, the badger starts choking his partner. This scene is already funny on its own, but if you pause the movie, you'll see the look of desperation on the deer's face as he tries to escape his violent partner. This scene is pretty strange. A little later on, we see Nick trying to get a soda that gets stuck in the vending machine. That's when he asks for help from a mouse who works inside the beverage storage area. But if you pause the scene, you'll see that this mouse doesn't like it at all, because Nick is interrupting his reading. There's a new video here every day, so subscribe and hit the bell to stay up to date. It's a shame that Nick doesn't get to drink the soda, but another character ends up drowning in it, since the fox throws the can on top of Paul, a rodent who works at the police station. If you pause the scene, you'll see him being carried away by the soda and the angry look on his face because of it. But Nick isn't the only one who knocks things over. If you pause the movie in the scene where the fox is arriving home, you'll see an elephant working out. Well, actually dropping a huge weight right onto his feet. That must have hurt. Still at Nick's house, a very funny scene, if you freeze it at the right moment, is when Judy suddenly shows up to talk to him about a clue. He gets so startled by his friend in such a funny way that he even drops his phone on the floor. In the Lynx ball scene, there's a very funny moment. Some hamsters are helping carry a giraffe's dress, but if you pause at the right moment, you'll see that one of them isn't paying attention to where he's going, because he's laughing at the reporter's cameras. Everyone saw that the hamsters fell, but you only realize why it happened if you pause the movie. If you pay close attention to the scene where the leopard is controlling the traffic leading to the ball, you'll notice that after he causes an accident, Judy and Nick sneak past behind their friend. They do this because they weren't invited to the party and took advantage of the accident to get in without being seen. This scene is really funny, but it happens so fast that the detail only shows clearly on screen if you freeze the movie. Inside the ball, when Judy and Nick are walking through the party, a very funny scene happens involving a mouse and a lion. When the lion, who is the city's reporter, is opening a bottle of champagne, the cork pops and Nick almost gets hit by it. But the funny part is that there's a mouse on top of the champagne cork, and it looks like he was having a lot of fun. And you would have to pause the movie to see the scene with all the details. Still during the ball scene, Nick is walking through the party and, without realizing it, ends up hitting a pig who is trying to drink some wine. Nick bumps into him, and the poor little pig gets all dirty. He even curses at Nick because of it, but the scene is funnier when you pause and see the look of shock and anger on the character's face. The scene becomes even funnier when Chief Bogo knocks over the glass of the same pig, who unfortunately still can't drink the wine he wanted so badly. Yeah, it really doesn't seem to be his day. If you pause this scene, you'll see how funny it is to watch the look of disappointment on the pig's face when he realizes he was sabotaged again. And finally, one of the scenes you only fully enjoy when you freeze the movie is the moment when Mr. Big and his daughter are arguing with Nick because he didn't kiss the ring of the family's granddaughter. In this scene, you'll see that Mr. Big's eyes appear from underneath his eyebrows, and it's a really cool detail, right? This movie is very funny in every single detail, and if you want to see more, stick around here with us. We've left 2 videos on your screen so you can choose and keep having fun with us. See you in the next video!